Hi, let me guess. You're in undergrad or you're thinking of going back to school, right? Well, with grad school applications coming up, then I'm so sure you're looking for all the tips and tricks that you will need to ace those applications, right? You're in luck because I will be sharing 5 of my top tips that I used for my grad school application process, and I will give you actual examples from my process and how I utilized these 5 tips. So stick around and let's do this. So the very first thing that you need to do is have a plan. Make a plan and work on it. You already know that you want to go to grad school. Now it's just a matter of putting in the work and learning how the process works, what is involved, and also figuring out what you want to do. The very first thing that I did, I took a whole summer as a learning summer. So I learned about the grad school process. I learned about what was expected of me in terms of paperwork, what kind of documents that they required, the general requirements. And then I dived deeper into looking at what schools do I want to apply to, what programs do I want to apply to, what kind of work do I want to do. Like, do I want to do something that I've been trained in my undergrad, and then looking at different ways of improving my CV. So I worked a couple of jobs to get some of the transferable skills and all that. So this was all in the planning. I was setting myself up for the grad school application process, and it all goes all the way to who's going to recommend me, who's going to proofread my essays, what would I need for that. So all of this is all in the planning. And for me, I used a spreadsheet that had all the possible schools that I wanted to apply to, all the possible programs that they had, all the interest and some of the requirements that they had on my spreadsheet as a rough draft, right? And using that draft, I was able to refine it as I go along. And which brings me to my next tip, which is research your school. Research the school, research the program that you want to do, and then start drafting essays for each school. So one of the things that people try to do is make one statement of purpose that applies to all type of essay. But all these people who are going through your essays, they know these tricks, right? They can tell a generic statement of purpose from a mile away. So it's up to you to make sure that your essay stands out, because once they read your first intro paragraph and it's just very generic, they don't even read the rest of it. They just put it aside. Like, we're not wasting our time. Some of them get paid in terms of how many papers they read. So you really need to customize your essay for each and every school. At this point, you're researching the school, what it's about, you're researching the program, what do you want to do with that program, what are your career prospects within after graduating this program, or stuff like that. Like having a general idea of what the school is and what the program that you're looking for is. The next thing is working on your essay and refining your essay. You do not want a sentence on your essay that doesn't have a purpose. You cannot have a sentence that you're submitting for a grad school application that wasn't meant to be there. Every sentence needs to have a purpose. Plan your sentences. What do you want to tell these people through your essay? What do you want to convey? Do you want to show them your personality? Do you want to show them your way of thinking? Do you want to show them your contributions to the program? Like, what exactly do you want to communicate with these people? How do you want your essay to represent you? Are you trying to convince them? Are you trying to show them that you know about the school? Are you trying to show them that you know about yourself? On to my fourth point. Having credible recommendations. The people who are reviewing your essay, they will look at it and they will see like, oh yeah, this recommender doesn't know anything about this person. It was just a random thing and it was an act of kindness. So really take time to consider your recommenders. I personally went to one of my professors. I interacted with him during office hours, in class, over email, so he really knew and had an idea of the kind of student that I am. My other recommender was the professor that I was working for, my PI, and we interacted every day, so he knew me. My third recommender was the dean of my college, and the reason for that was I was a Dean's Research Scholar at Michigan State University, so being able to work with the dean directly in events and within the program, I was able to form a relationship where he knew who I was and he could write a recommendation for me. So having credible recommenders is crucial. They are tasked with conveying your strengths and weaknesses, and if it's somebody who doesn't know you, they will probably just be very general. Lastly is diversify your CV. Sometimes we're tempted to really focus on what we want to do in grad school. If it's psychology, you want to do just psychology research and just that, and work in a lab and nothing else. But when you submit your resume and they see that you've been involved in psychology club, or you've been involved in volunteering, or some other aspects of psychology. For example, I worked as an undergrad research assistant. I worked as part of the Office of Undergraduate Research and Creative Activities, and as an undergraduate research ambassador, which was not a lab-based thing. So it was basically trying to help undergrads find resources, to find opportunities on Michigan State campus, because MSU is a huge campus and sometimes it's really hard finding these opportunities. So I was helping students find lab opportunities where they could grow their research experience. That was really something fun that I was doing. I also did a lot of other jobs throughout my college life. I was a receptionist at some point, where I really got a lot of transferable skills. Having a diverse CV is really helpful. It's good that you have that one concentration, and that's who you are. That's why you came to undergrad, or that's why you went to school. But at the same time, what else have you done outside of the lab or outside of your major? What else have you been involved in? So diversifying CV and resume, there are small things like formatting, and each area of research has its own way of formatting. So figuring out how your field formats their CV and resume is really important. It also shows that you have done some research and you know what you're doing. Lastly, as a bonus tip, is setting a deadline that's earlier than the deadline set by the school. Honestly, anything can happen. The system might crash. Your laptop might crash. Literally, and think of the worst case scenario. Yes, they can happen, and you were just about to hit that submit button and boom, everything is lost. I set my deadline 2 weeks before my actual deadline, so by Thanksgiving. So I was like, by Thanksgiving I am done with grad school applications. I do not want to think about them. I am done. I want to celebrate Thanksgiving with family, with nothing at the back of my mind telling me I need to do something with my essays or do something with my recommenders. With my recommenders, I gave them I think a deadline of after Thanksgiving, but they had my back. Really set your deadline early, and it saves you a lot of stress knowing that your application was accepted. And if they have anything that any additional information that they want you to provide, you have a lot of time. You have a lot of time to gather that information, rather than it's like, oh yeah, the deadline is tomorrow, but we found your application doesn't have this and this documents that will take 3 days or 4 days to get. They set a deadline, and this can even come all the way up until the making a plan. Like, set a deadline, know by when do you want to be done with the application process, and now you're just waiting for their feedback. So those were my 5 and bonus tips on how I went about my grad school application process. If you liked this video, make sure to click the thumbs up, give it a thumbs up, and obviously comment and see what else have you seen out there that would help somebody else who's coming back to this channel and watching this video. So leave a comment at the bottom. I will engage, and if you have questions, like, I love questions, so leave your questions at the bottom. Leave your comment, and obviously subscribe for more content like this. And until next time, Jacqify out.